We're live here at Henne Field with Mayor Brian Marl. Yes, well, in the old days we did a post State of the City interview.
Both January and July.
But hardly any of that showed up on the video. I don't know if you know that. The last maybe 2 minutes were on the YouTube stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to get that corrected. I appreciate you letting me know.
Yeah, no problem. So anyway, I can't really ask you about that because there's hardly anything there to talk about.
Sure.
But tomorrow is a big day down at Mill Pond Park with the Jazz Festival, and I wonder what you thought of that event.
I think it's a wonderful event. I think it's a growing, burgeoning event, and I'm excited that there's now transportation. There's a shuttle. There's regional entertainment that will be brought in from out of state, out of the country, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Alexander Zonjic.
Yeah.
I remember the commercials with him when I was like 12 years old.
He's a big deal in Canada, is he not?
He was a big deal in Windsor. And to be honest, back in the day, we kind of made fun of his haircut.
I'm sure you did.
But because he was playing that
He's
flute, and like kind of like, who's the guy, the saxophone player? I don't know. He was very theatrical with the way he played the flute, and they really played that up in the commercials.
He's big in both Ontario and Montreal, I believe.
Is he?
Or in Quebec, excuse me.
Quebec,
Yeah.
Montreal Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. But he's a big deal in Windsor.
Yeah.
You know, he's played festivals and events and charities as long as I can remember.
That's marvelous.
It was unbelievable to see his name.
There'll be some phenomenal acts and talent there tomorrow. There'll be good food. We'll pray for good weather. I'm excited the trajectory that this particular event is on, and I think it's going to be even better in 2026, 2027, and in the years following.
So one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you a little bit was we're seeing some activity, some new businesses coming to town, especially in the industrial park. Banknote, is that the name? Is that the name
I
of it?
just had lunch with them today.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
So they're moving into the old Windsor Mold building.
It used to be Windsor Mold. Prior to Windsor Mold, it was ThyssenKrupp.
Okay, and that was a new building, wasn't it? A fairly new building, because
Yeah, probably built in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay. So what can you tell me about this business? And obviously you're happy to have anyone in there, but
yeah, I mean, you can look them up. They're currently in Ypsilanti Township. They've been growing as of the past 5 to 10 years. They've been looking for a larger permanent home that will accommodate their expansion. They are really excited to be in Saline, and I think they hope to be operational in the first quarter of 2026.
Awesome. Do you know what they do? Like I've read their website and.
I don't claim to be an expert in what
Yeah.
they do in terms of providing support to the banking industry,
Right.
but I think it's a business that's on a really strong foundation. I think they have just shy of 100 employees.
Yeah.
It looks like there's going to be space for some other enterprises on that existing parcel, and again, plenty of room to grow and expand if their business deems that necessary and appropriate in the years to come. We're excited to welcome them to the city of Saline, and then also DrinkMate, which will be taking over the former Flat Out Bread space.
Are they taking that whole space?
They're taking that whole space. That will be warehouse, research development, shipping and receiving, and it'll be their new corporate headquarters.
All right. How'd you find out about these guys, or did they just happen to? Did you have to recruit them, or did they just happen to find you guys?
Our partners at Ann Arbor Spark dropped us a line that they might be interested in the former Flat Out building, and we met with them, must have been the first quarter of this year.
Mm-hmm.
They closed on the property. I actually met with their marketing director on Tuesday, who's up from Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they provided you a press release for not a groundbreaking,
Right.
but a dedication, a ribbon cutting, excuse me,
Yes.
that will take place in late September, and they're welcoming, or they would like to welcome the entire community to join them. It's a great product. They actually provided us a few. We have one that is very well used at City Hall.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because over the years I've thought, wouldn't it be great if I don't want, I got onto this carbonated water kick, and I was just like, I don't want to buy cans when I
Make
could
it
just
at
put
home.
it right at home.
Yeah.
So I
With
think
the-
I've actually looked up their product in the past.
Yeah. You can make it at home, and you can make it with they're not manufactured in the States. They won't be manufactured in
Right.
Saline, but they will be produced by a Saline-based company.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They make them in China and Taiwan, I believe.
Taiwan.
They said yes.
Yep.
So just in general, having both of those businesses coming to town in the industrial park there, how important is that to you?
Well, it's very important because it would be very it would would not have been good to see those properties languish. You've been around enough. You've covered a diverse, eclectic array of communities over the years. You know how quickly these properties can decline, and languish, I think, is the appropriate word, and they can become not only an eyesore but a detriment to the overall well-being of the community. And we want to create a culture in which entrepreneurship flourishes. We want a strong and diverse tax base, and we want to provide good quality jobs to Saline community residents and anyone in the vicinity who wants to compete for them.
Speaking of vacancies, on Bennett Street, the building across the street from us, I think that's completely empty at this point.
I believe so. There might be one tenant remaining, but it's essentially essentially empty. I have been in touch with a business owner out of Lenawee County, Tecumseh, who is interested in acquiring the entire property.
Okay, great. Do you want to say who? Is it too early to say?
Too early to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about there's one other business that I can think of off the top of my head. What's the name? Is it Perfect Solutions? No. What's the one that's opening with the groundbreaking in 2 weeks in the Oaks in the corner place used to be where Probility was?
Oh, it's a rental venue that you can hold events and activities in.
Yes.
Yeah, you did a nice article on them maybe 2 or 3 weeks back.
That was Mary Rose who did that.
Okay.
Yes.
I have not had an opportunity to meet the proprietors yet, but I look forward to attending that event. I think that's a great addition to the community. I've noted for some time now there is a lack of ample space for rental venues, for birthday parties, anniversaries, graduations, any kind of social gathering. So I think that is a nice complement, a good addition to the community, and more specifically to the Oak Shopping Center. I wish them well, and I'll do whatever I can within my power to ensure that they're successful and thrive for years to come.
I'm not sure how White Pines is doing, but I'm talking to more people who sort of are getting their start at White Pines, and it seems to sort of be an incubator for people to start their own businesses. Now there's one going in across the street on
yes, in the former News Arts and Antiques.
Yes.
Yep, and that's going to be more. That's exclusively ceramics.
Right.
So that's just three-dimensional. I think the proprietors of White Pines are friends of mine. I'm very impressed by Joanne and Kaylee. I was walking the dog just yesterday afternoon and was amazed with the steady stream of students who are participating in their summer art program.
Yeah.
I think it's a great addition to the downtown, and I'm proud to say I'm a patron.
Yeah.
You're probably aware of this, but the official city gift that was provided to our friends from provided to our friends from Lindenberg, Germany, when they visited in June, was an original watercolor art piece produced by Kaylee that I purchased through White Pines.
What else can you tell me about what's any other exciting news on the business front coming in the city?
We are working with, we're trying to work with another landlord downtown who has some spaces that are available. I've been approached by two separate teams, entrepreneurial teams, who want to bring what I think is a pretty exciting business to the former Drowsy Parrot space.
Okay.
So we'll see if we get some traction on that.
Is that a food-based business?
There would be a food component to that.
Okay.
But I think both, again, they're two separate teams. I think either one of them would be a viable option for the downtown and complement the existing businesses quite nicely.
Well, that side of the street could use that little punch up there.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the other big news in Saline. Dan Swallows.
Met with him this morning.
Or Swallow, not Swallow.
Yeah, no S.
Dan Swallow. When does he come to town? Well, he's already in town, but when does he work?
Yeah, I believe we have the tentative framework for an employment contract. I had put a placeholder on Monday's agenda for that to be considered and approved. It's not quite ready, so it will be considered at our August 4th council meeting.
Wow.
It is my hunch that, no, it's not my hunch actually, he confirmed today that his existing employment contract with the city of Tecumseh requires him to give 30 days notice.
Yep.
So assuming his contract is approved on the 4th of August, he'll give his 30 days, which means roughly he'll begin his tenure in Saline either that first or second full week in September.
Okay, so it's still a little ways off.
Yep.
Are you surprised it's taking this long, or?
No, because
Well, I guess the whole process kind of slowed
Yeah,
everything
the
down.
process is protracted and I guess inherently cumbersome. And also, there's been a little bit of a delay in getting some documents and drafts back from legal counsel, in large part because of the number of vacations and time away people take during the summer months. So this is a challenging time of a year to negotiate a permanent employment contract for a position of such importance.
Have you gotten to know him more since everything has gone down? Since you
We had a very nice, it was Mayor Pro Tem Dillon and I who met with him today. You'll recall that the motion to extend a conditional offer to Mr. Swallow was subject on successful completion of a criminal and personal background check, which has been complete. He passed.
Yeah.
And then negotiating a fair and equitable contract with Mayor Pro Tem Dillon and myself. Obviously, it needs to be presented to council and approved. So we met with him this morning at 8 o'clock at City Hall. Very cordial, upbeat conversation. He's very excited to be coming to Saline. He thinks that his skill set and experience aligns nicely with our goals and objectives, but also the challenges that we'll face in the ensuing years. I wouldn't claim that I know him well at this juncture, but I'm beginning to know him. I really like his personality. He's very positive, upbeat. I think he has a great bedside manner. I think he will relate well to both businesses and constituents alike. I think he's going to be a great addition to the organization.
I don't want you to tell the world exactly where he lives, but how close does he live to you? Because that's my neighborhood too. So.
Yeah, he's across the street, about 4 or 5 houses down.
Okay.
And I think he purchased that home in the fourth quarter of last year.
You're right. Do you ever see him around the neighborhood?
I saw him out mowing his lawn maybe a week or so ago, and I waved. But apart from that, we've never actually interacted or interfaced in the neighborhood.
Okay. What's going to happen with Al? Do we know? Do we know? Is she going to stick around for the year, or?
Well, I think her tenure. I think she's going to stick around for at least some period of time. Her tenure as acting city manager will continue up until the point that Mr. Swallow is brought on board, and then subsequent to that, she can revert back to her role as treasurer, deputy city manager. I suspect that she'll also help with the transition and with special projects. Obviously, she's taking a lead on a number of important initiatives, including an analysis of the rec center, the downtown gathering space, and also some recent work that we initiated to assess our options relative to fire service in the years ahead. So that obviously needs to continue because we're developing some great momentum on all of those fronts, and I'd hate to see all of our time and energy and efforts go to waste.
And so the city has the budget to have somebody in the treasurer position and a deputy city manager?
I'm not sure we would have those dollars long term.
Right.
If council decided to make that allocation or change, it would require budget amendments. It's not part of the existing budget that was approved earlier this spring and went into effect July 1. But we'll certainly have the resources to keep her on for at least a few months to assist with the transition. And she's doing a great job as acting city manager. I enjoy working with her and look forward to working with her over these next several months.
So, two things that she's been involved in. One, you said the rec center task force. What's the status of that?
That's actually on the agenda for Monday's council meeting. We're asking for a 3-month extension for them to continue their efforts. One, because Plant Moran is doing an analysis on operations and finances currently, and then several of the subcommittees that we established. Some have already completed their work. They move really expeditiously. I'm on one subcommittee that's probably only 30% through the work that we.
Is that the identify the money?
No, I'm not in that group. I'm more in the operations and programming. But we need time to finish our efforts, and I think there's a desire, at least among myself, several members of council, and our acting city manager, that we'd like to involve the new permanent city manager in this process as well, and allow him to provide some insights and direction if he has them. So, if you recall, when the most recent Rec Center Sustainability Task Force was established, they were supposed to report out at this next meeting. So the second meeting in July 21st.
It was a very aggressive timeline.
Correct. We're going to give them an extra 3 months, so I think they need to report out. I don't think. If the motion is approved on Monday, they'll have to report out and share a recommendation no later than that second meeting in October.
What was the other task force? Oh, no, it wasn't the task force.
Was it Green Space?
The Green Space, yeah.
So, according to a conversation that I had with Tyler Kinley, who's the proprietor of Praxis Properties, who owns much of downtown, including the area that includes the proposed green space, He believes that his revised application with the MEDC will be considered by their board either this coming week or the following week. So we expect to know pretty definitively what the state's contribution is going to be by early August, which is much later than any of us anticipated.
Right.
But I'm pretty confident that we'll know sometime in August what the dollar amount is. We have already started to prime the well, so to speak, and reach out to community foundations, local businesses, and individuals to encourage them to consider supporting the project financially if we do not receive as large of a contribution from MEDC as we have hoped. And Elle and I have had a number of conversations already. They've been very, very positive. Our message has been warmly received, and I think we'll be able to develop, excuse me, not develop, but to obtain the necessary financial resources to make this project a reality, and hopefully break ground sometime during the construction season of 2026.
I guess my last question is the fire assessments, fire service assessment, emergency service assessment. What's your takeaway from that?
I gotta tell you, I don't know if you've read that report in its totality.
I mean, I just tried to soak it in while they gave the presentation. And I started to get into it, but I never really got anywhere with it.
You know, I've been a part of a number of independent analyses on a variety of programs and initiatives within our municipal portfolio during my tenure as both as a council member and as mayor. I have to tell you, in total candor, this report I thought was the most comprehensive, detailed. There's a lot of substance there.
It laid things out pretty well.
Yep.
To me, just my gut reaction was, well, I think you pretty much can't do anything on your own at this point because it's almost as expensive as it is now. But you got to put up $16 million.
Yeah, if you wanted to move in a new or different direction, it would take establishing some new and significant relationships.
Yeah.
To not only fund the necessary the necessary expansion or change in operations, but also to assist with the governing and oversight.
It sounds like. Briefly, in brief conversations I've had, Saline Township wants to maintain what's going on. York Township wants to maintain what's going on. I think they'd be into some sort of authority or whatever. I don't know about Lodi Township, but that township has changed a lot recently, and I'm not sure what their
I mean, they're all good, reasonable questions. They obviously best addressed by my colleagues in each of those townships. Obviously, fire service is critically important. It's one of the most important services that we provide. And I think it is of paramount importance that we, in elected and appointed positions, continue to evaluate and review our services to see if there's opportunity to improve efficiencies or to generate additional cost savings. I am, I'm not completely unbiased here. I think that exploring the authority option makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying I would support it at this juncture, but I think it makes a lot of sense, particularly from a funding perspective, because the way the city of Saline funds fire protection today, I believe, is antiquated and a bit cumbersome.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that there was you guys proudly said every year, we're not going to levy our fire assessment.
Yeah.
And now it's not anywhere near enough.
Correct. So we have a special assessment, which I think is a less than desirable funding option.
And you don't get
and then I still have to take money from the general fund to cover the city's cost for fire protection. And as you know, those general fund dollars are golden because they can be used for anything. It's not part of a restricted fund. So they could go towards roads, they could go towards police, they could go towards the creation of a gathering space. Unfortunately, they cannot at this juncture because they're tied up with fire service, and that's not meant as a pejorative statement against fire protection, because again, it's of paramount importance. Fire protection needs to be appropriately funded and appropriately governed with the appropriate level of oversight from the participating entities. And I think that's the genesis for why we did what we did. We want to ensure that we're on a good trajectory, and that if there are changes that need to be made, they'll be made to improve the quality of service for existing residents, but also for future residents.
Do you think that an authority would would make for better relations between the communities, the townships, the city, than what currently exists?
It may. I think that the participating entities within the fire department are moving in the right direction of creating a more cohesive relationship amongst the 4 participating entities. I'm a firm believer that all of the governmental jurisdictions who are serviced by the Saline Area Fire Department would benefit from a long-range capital plan and a strategic plan, and that Lodi Township, York Township, Saline Township, City of Saline, the employees, all community stakeholders need to be a part of that process. But I think we need a clear roadmap of where we're going and how we intend to get there, with specific benchmarks, timeframes, and assigning tasks to specific groups or individuals.
One of the reasons I asked is because one of the things I've been thinking about a lot for the recreation is a recreational authority, something that maybe mirrored the school district boundary, or the Saline Library boundary, because somebody's got to help the residents of the city fund,
right,
not just the rec center, but to improve it, to or maybe a new rec center somewhere, you know.
I want people to be aware of the fact that the dysfunction that exists in Washington, D.C., while it may be entertaining, it has consequences on communities like Saline. So by way of example, in the previous Congress, under the previous administration, our Congresswoman Debbie Dingell secured more than $1 million to help us fund rec center operations and a rehab. Current administration has not allowed those dollars to be allocated. Okay, that a very similar request is in again this year, and I think it's a good request. It has been appropriately vetted and is supported by a number of entities within the broader community.
Yeah, but even so, I mean, who uses that rec center? It's a lot of York Township residents, probably there's Saline Township residents, City of Saline. There are Pittsfield residents. Lodi, I know because they were right across the street. And yet it's the city, you know. So like we can get some money from the federal government, but is that one-time money? Is, you know, at some point that facility needs to be funded by the community.
Well, I guess my argument is I think both options ought to be explored.
Sure.
So if there's dollars that can support a rehab, a renovation, an expansion, or operations from state or federal sources, I want to explore those. I want to get my hands on those dollars. But you're absolutely right. I think long term we've got to identify and establish a reliable funding source locally to manage that resource, that amenity on an annual basis.
You take a look at, I think it's called is it ARRA, Avon, Rochester, and maybe something else. Their authority, the parks they have, the facilities they have, the parks, community centers. It's amazing what they're able to do.
Yep.
And it serves the whole community. I mean, sure, not everybody's going to use it, but anybody who wants to can find something they want to do over there if that's what they want to do.
Right.
And I feel like we're limited into what we can do. We're just trying to maintain what we got instead of offering something that's going to bring more, you know, excitement,
correct,
enrichment to people's lives.
I'm a firm believer that if that amenity is going to remain viable long term, there has to be additions. We have to be able to offer more than what is currently offered today at mid-July 2025.
Sure. All right, that's all I have. I'm all out.
Okay.
No more questions for me. I appreciate
easy enough.
it.
Yep. Thank you for your flexibility. Have me back anytime.
All right, cool. Appreciate it.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. I appreciate you doing
Hey,
that.
can I get a